The go, no go decision. This is where dreams come to die. By 2023, it wasn't theoretical anymore. Boat production timeline meant that there was a real deadline. If we wanted to hit our target date, we need to order our boat soon. We had identified the Fountaine Pajot Tanna 47 as our boat. Calls were coming in from boat brokers, email, short-term offers, buy now and we'll save you this, we'll throw in a free dinghy. Lead times were shrinking, token discounts were putting some pressure on us. And the pressure felt real, and it felt urgent. You know, the plan had real risks, but it wasn't reckless until the inputs changed. In 2022 and 2023, we saw the fastest acceleration in interest rates that we had seen in a generation. And when rates move that fast, everything gets stress tested. Insurance rates go up, carrying costs go up, the financials change. And that's when we started to hear the stories of people who had bought boats 2 and 3 years ago and were now taking delivery on them. But with the new rates, qualifying was harder. Lenders were putting higher standards, and just the interest rate alone was pushing buyers away. There are buyers out there who had put $200,000 down on a brand new boat. We knew this because we were getting calls saying, hey, we've got a boat ready for us that the buyer had to walk away from. $200,000 on $1 million boat and having to walk away. They couldn't close. Rates had nearly doubled. Loans were falling apart. Boats were becoming available. And we started to imagine walking away from $200,000. That's not a rounding error. That's not portfolio noise unless you're ultra wealthy, and we weren't that. That's when it hit us. This wasn't theoretical anymore. This was real. And my spreadsheet started showing me the same thing. $1 million boat wasn't $1 million decision anymore. Over time, it was closer to 2. And that was before insurance. That was before maintenance. That was before parts. That was before storing our boat. And you know, people would try and play on your ego. Oh, but the people who buy these boats, they're usually paying cash. That didn't change the story. That didn't make the costs go away. Perhaps you didn't pay the interest rates on the loan, but you lost the interest that you could have made on that money in the yield. So if you financed, you paid the interest. If you didn't, you lost it to yield. Either way, that cost was real. You just moved it from one column to another on the spreadsheet. And by 2023, something else had become clear. This wasn't an interest rate spike. Interest rates were going to stay elevated, and that was the moment. Because risk management isn't about surviving a shock. It's about surviving a new baseline. And once we accepted that baseline, the answers changed. It felt like that scene from Apollo 13 when they're preparing to launch and Flight is going around and checking with everybody to see if they're ready to go. Propulsion, go flight. Nav, go flight. Instrumentation, go flight. And we were moving through those variables one after another. Insurance, manageable. Timeline, tight, but we could still do it. We were on track. Logistics, they were complicated as hell, but they were solvable. Our decisions were go, go. But then came the math. And all of a sudden it was, Houston, we have a problem. Because with rates where they were, this wasn't manageable risk anymore. It had crossed a line. A boat wasn't freedom. It was a massive, unpredictable burden. But the interesting part was the goal had never been the boat. The goal had been the motion, the freedom. So this became the go, no-go decision. And unquestionably, the disciplined answer was no. Not because the dream failed, but because this version no longer made sense. We were still committed to leaving in 2026. That hadn't changed. We were still set on that. But what had changed was the path. And that brought us back to the question that started this whole process. What's next?